evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us on our primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. We are live from Douala, Cameroon's economic capital city. In our top stories tonight, residents of the Ndokbasi neighborhood of the Douala Free municipality are grappling with a surge in nightmare attacks and banditry despite repeated complaints from the local authorities lodged through the quarter heads to security officials of the city of Douala. In this edition of the news, we take you to the disturbing security situation of Ndokbasi in the Douala Free. In politics, Cameroon's National Assembly is currently examining a bill that is set to aim as giving the President of the Republic the powers to extend the mandate of municipal councillors over 18 months as stipulated by the current electoral laws. In this edition, we shall be viewing this and just what impact it will have on the nation Cameroon, plus the increasing attacks on young girls and kids across Cameroon. Our guest tonight is a woman and children's rights advocate. We shall be digging deeper into this and other interesting stories. Welcome. Once again, thanks for choosing to be informed by the best of television network across Cameroon and the Central African sub-region. Now, this is the primetime newscast with me. For me, I'm from Sanda, live from Douala, Cameroon. Now, we're starting with human interest story. Residents of Ndokbasi in the Douala Free municipality say that they have been grappling with a surge in nighttime attacks and banditry despite repeated complaints lodged by the quarter heads through the Gendarmerie and the National Police. The absence of street lighting has left the neighborhood vulnerable to these men of the underworld who are said to have taken advantage of the darkness to make life unbearable for local inhabitants. Their worries are compiled by Innocent Aze.
The rate of insecurity reigning in Ndokbasi 3, a neighborhood in the Douala 3 subdivision, is said to have reached a chronic stage. The quarterhead says his locality is among those under the heavy weight of aggression and banditry in all its forms.
Quand on parle du désordre urbain, de l'insécurité urbaine, du grand banditisme urbain, mon quartier en est un des exemples.
The quarterhead says his quarter is one of those under the giant foot of aggression and banditry in all its colors. As from 11 p.m., thieves are in charge.
À l'entrée du quartier, vous êtes passé pour arriver.
At a place called La Zone, at the entrance into the quarter, thieves operate as security agents.
À minuit, il y a des bandits qui arrivent là-bas, ils se transforment en vigiles.
It's not been long since they attacked, undressed and tied up security men and wore their uniforms, disguising as real security men and harassing people entering or leaving the quarter.
Vigiles. Pendant qu'ils ont attaché les vigiles pour mettre dans la rigole, ce sont eux qui contrôlent maintenant tous ceux qui entraient, ils braquaient, ils fouillaient même les voitures.
Residents affirm that their lives are in constant danger despite the presence of two nearby police stations.
Nous avons deux commissariats, il y a le commissariat du 14e et Lilon ici là.
Despite this, they can't return home and sleep peacefully at night. Most often, they are compelled to be at home before 7 p.m. to avoid being attacked by hoodlums, usually armed with daggers and other deadly objects.
On te sort soit le couteau, soit une arme blanche.
The lack of street lights and the presence of thick bushes in Ndokbasi 3 further favor criminal activities, offering hiding spots for attackers who easily ambush their targets.
Pendant que vous venez me rendre visite comme ça, si vous passez dans l'obscurité, les gars peuvent bondir sur vous, arracher votre sac, sortir même le couteau. Et si c'est dans l'obscurité, qui va les voir?
Insecurity has become so rampant that even the quarterhead has not been spared.
Si vous regardez même ma porte là, les bandits sont venus casser ma porte le 29 mars pour me tuer ici.
Being a victim of burglary, both in the day and at night, a man who pretended to be mentally unstable came battering his door, demanding he should come out so he could finish him off, saying he had been looking for him for a long time.
Mais mon fils, tu casses la porte du chef, pourquoi? Il dit non, le chef je ne le vois pas, j'ai besoin de le voir aujourd'hui, je veux finir avec lui aujourd'hui.
Following numerous cases of assault and banditry reported by residents, the quarterhead says he has filed several complaints with security authorities calling for urgent intervention. While awaiting a response, a local vigilante committee is striving to curb the insecurity.
Nous avons une équipe du comité de vigilance de ce quartier et qui fonctionne 24 heures sur 24. Quand il y a moins d'informations, nous informons l'autorité à l'instant.
As for the issue of poor lighting, the quarter head reveals that he has addressed a formal letter to the mayor of Douala 3, urging the council to include the installation of street lights in Dokpase 3 among priority projects.
Même si la route n'est pas bonne, quand on a au moins une visibilité de voir si quelqu'un est en train d'agresser un voisin, on peut au moins donner l'alerte. Là, on peut venir encercler le lieu et sécuriser les gens de mon quartier.
While residents patiently await concrete action to tackle the alarming situation, the quarter head and his community say they continue to rely on vigilance and faith for survival.
And on to a related story, some young Cameroonians who were arrested within the context of the post-electoral unrest across Cameroon have been released. These individuals released from the New Central Prison say that they were simply victims of circumstances who got handed over to the police while they were running, among other young persons. Their worries and rather their story is compiled by Malaglory for you.
With a sigh of relief, they brandished their discharge certificate. Suleiman Hamadou, Yusufa Abdullahi, Jedene Warku and Potonidi Mubarak were set free from the Douala Newbel prison, where they have been detained since October 2025. They were in custody for 5 months, accused for protesting during the post-electoral violence.
C'est Maman Gaël qui nous a aidés, vraiment il nous a aidés. Il a pris des soins de nous depuis qu'on est entré en prison.
The teenagers were arrested while they were running errands for their parents.
Les jours qu'on est arrêté, ce n'est pas dans son...
The kids were not protesting. One of them was sent to search for his junior brother when some young men in the neighborhood caught them and handed over to the security forces.
Ils ont arrêté l'enfant pour donner aux policiers, pour les arrêter.
The situation has greatly affected their education as one of them, 17-year-old Mubarak, a technical student of the construction department, was unable to register for the preparatoire official exams of the French subsystem of education, a special case which, according to an association for supporting underprivileged children, needed immediate intervention from the authorities.
Un chemin super difficile parce que déjà le motif.
She explained that it was quite a difficult journey defending these children, given that it was a political motive and the so many failed appointments made it challenging comforting the children.
Rien fait, vous n'avez commis aucun crime et tout, soyez fort, mais c'était pas facile.
According to the Organization for the Fight Against Human Rights, there are still so many children detained in different prison cells in Douala, many of whom are in a poor health condition.
Il y en a encore beaucoup à l'intérieur. Il y a un qui est très très malade.
She hopes that the message will reach the right quarters and touch the hearts of the authorities so that the children can be released.
Libérer surtout cet enfant qui a un problème d'anémie.
Sources say more than 500 young people arrested in Cameroon in connection to the post-electoral violence are still detained in different prison cells across Cameroon, 5 months after the 2025 presidential election.
And still with children, with the rising trend of social media ills in a society, a legal mind, a peace crusader reacts. Barrister Ntumfo Nikohale says the fight against corruption and other immoral behavior in the Cameroonian society must go on until positive results are visible. Staff Lady Annabella has more.
Corruption, embezzlement of public funds, hate speech, among others, are some of the vices which have been plaguing the Cameroonian society for years now. These ills have plunged the common man into living in total misery on a daily basis. Being a peace crusader who has dedicated a greater part of his career advocating for equal rights, Barrister Ntumfo Nikohale says to ensure a safe and sound society, peace must be the price.
It's a fight, you call it a combat. It's a fight which
it will last till infinity.
While presenting the Nico Hale Gallery in the company of the Douala City Mayor, the legal mind castigated in strong terms the recent cases of infanticide and femicide, as well as sexual assault on minors.
The day harmony returns to the world, people stop stealing and embezzling and seizing people's wives and destroying people's daughters, and people stop, the school they end, hate speech and xenophobia.
He adds that in the context of poverty and insecurity, Cameroonians must say no to and work together while ensuring that the nation's natural wealth is equitably shared with a common man having what he is due.
From peace to religion, in the midst of the Holy Week, Christian faithful are deepening their devotion, seeking spiritual growth and commemorating Christ's ultimate sacrifice. In the report done by Marcolette Fogwe, a priest explains the significance of the Holy Week and how believers can observe this sacred period. Details in her report.
As Holy Week unfolds, Christians globally are immersed in a profound spiritual journey, one marked by contemplation, self-denial, and a quest for redemption. In Cameroon, believers are flocking to churches to confess, pray and fast, seeking to reconnect with their faith.
So, the Holy Week now is the culmination of Lent, where each and every one, through fasting, through charity, through almsgiving, through penance, encounter God, and then in many ways will find healing, will find joy, will find happiness, will feel belonging again. So this Holy Week is a culmination of everything that we've been doing during this Lenten period.
Reverend Father Innocent Wefon explains that Holy Week commemorates the Last Supper, solidifying priesthood and the power of service to mankind through the washing of feet.
Holy Thursday has two basic significance for us as Christians, and most especially for us as Catholics. The first one is the institution of the Eucharist, which we all know is the center and the heart of the church. On the Last Supper, Jesus instituted the Eucharist. This is my body and this is my blood, which becomes for us now our spiritual food that gives us strength for our spiritual journey. The second significance is the institution of the priesthood, where he told his apostles, "Do it in memory of me." And that is why today, as priests, we continue to do that same activity of Jesus Christ. Priesthood is not just the transformation or praying over the bread and wine, but it's a service. That is why on the Last Supper, Jesus actually washed the feet of his apostles, showing that we as priests, we have to get engaged in loving service to the people of God.
As the faithful conclude their Lenten journey, they look forward to celebrating Christ's resurrection and the promise of salvation. With hearts purified and spirits lifted, they will emerge from this period ready to share love, forgiveness and hope with the world.
And from the church to the National Assembly to say, as we told you in our top stories, that Cameroon's lower house of parliament is examining a proposed electoral reform that will allow the president of the republic to extend the mandate of municipal councillors beyond 18 months as stipulated by the current electoral law in the country. A bill to this effect is undergoing scrutiny in the March session of parliament in Yaoundé. Babla Jonathan has more.
Lawmakers in Cameroon's lower house of parliament have been examining since March 30, 2026 a proposed amendment to the electoral code that could change the management of the mandate of municipal councillors. Submitted by the government to the National Assembly, the bill seeks to revise Article 170 on the duration of municipal councillors' term of office. The bill's explanatory memorandum states that the initiative is a solution to the financial and logistical constraints that come with the regular organization of municipal elections. According to Honorable Adamu Kupit, while the ruling Cameroon People's Democratic Movement (CPDM) party, which controls the majority of the councils of the Republic, appears to be comfortable with the bill, some opposition parliamentarians have rejected it.
J'ai l'impression que face à la réaction de l'opposition, face aux critiques.
Like Honorable Adamu Kupit, other opposition members of parliament, including Honorable Cabral Libi and Honorable Jean-Michel Ninche, qualify the bill as anti-democratic. The proposed amendment introduces a new provision allowing the President of the Republic to extend or shorten municipal mandate by decree following consultation with the government and the Bureau of the Senate. As of now, the law permits the head of state to extend the mandate of municipal councillors for a maximum of 18 months. If adopted, the reform will remove that restriction while maintaining the 5-year renewable cycle for municipal councillors.
And now we move to sports to say that the Leopards of the Democratic Republic of Congo have qualified or guaranteed a ticket for the next FIFA World Cup. It will be a historic return to the world stage after missing out for over 52 years. But some surprises and curiosities were also recorded in the FIFA World Cup qualifiers, as sportsman Simat Njikangebe reports.
It was a long wait for DR Congo's fans to right the wrongs of their solitary World Cup campaign in 1974. The lone goal scored by Azel Twanzebe during extra time against the Reggae Boys of Jamaica gave DR Congo a second FIFA World Cup ticket in 52 years. With qualification validated, back at home, 110 million people as well as the global diaspora will now pray for things to go better this time than they were in West Germany when they competed as Zaire. That campaign ended in 3 defeats, 14 goals conceded and none scored, as well as an emphatic 9-0 loss to Yugoslavia. The Leopards of DR Congo will play in Group K against the likes of Portugal, Uzbekistan and Colombia in the expanded FIFA World Cup tournament. The qualification of DR Congo brings to total 10 countries from Africa to participate at the FIFA World Cup, with 9 of the nations, Senegal, Morocco, Egypt, Ghana, Algeria, Tunisia, Cote d'Ivoire, Cabo Verde and South Africa picking up direct tickets, while DR Congo went through the CAF playoffs and intercontinental playoffs to get their ticket. Curious enough, the 2026 competition will be played with some teams that bookmakers would have written them off qualifying for the tournament. Amongst these nations, we have Uzbekistan, who qualified for their first ever FIFA World Cup. Curacao qualified with a population of only 156,000, coached by Dick Advocat. And Turkey secured a spot, appearing for the first time since 2002. Unfortunately, some football houses in the continent, like Italy, failed to qualify for the 3rd FIFA World Cup in a row. Cameroon, Nigeria and Mali from the CAF zone will also watch the encounters on the screen.
And now, on to news out of Cameroon, while Sudan faces a deepening humanitarian crisis following a devastating hospital attack in the Darfur region. Cameroon is grappling with public outcry over a controversial migration deal with the United States of America's government led by President Donald Trump. These two escalating situations highlight a period of intense regional instability marked by relentless civil war in Sudan and secretive diplomacy and agreement within the Cameroonian nation. We have details with Law Maniero on our foreign news page.
The civil war in Sudan continues to cause devastations and civilian casualties. An attack on the university hospital in El Dain has left at least 64 people dead, including many children, The Director General of the World Health Organization reported on Sunday, March 21st, calling for the protection of civilians, healthcare workers and humanitarians to be guaranteed. The relentless war, which has pitted former allies against each other in Sudan since 2023, has intensified in recent months by the surge of deadly drone strikes on densely populated residential areas, schools and hospitals. The vast western region of Darfur is now largely controlled by the Parliamentary forces, while the army maintains control over eastern, central and northern Sudan. More details are emerging regarding the migration deal between US and Cameroon. According to the revelations by the New York Times, the Donald Trump administration reportedly secured an agreement from Cameroon to accept deported migrants onto its soil, even though they do not originate from the country. According to reports, these funds were allegedly paid on January 12, shortly before the departure of the first flight carrying deported migrants from Louisiana to Cameroon. The agreement is said to be part of the broader strategy by the American administration. In Cameroon, the deal is sparking anger and indignation. Despite reactions from the opposition and civil societies, no Cameroonian official has spoken publicly on the issue, which indignates intense passions. According to the Human Rights Watch, the U.S. government deported 17 men and women to Cameroon, including asylum seekers and one stateless person originating from 9 African countries: Angola, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Ethiopia, Ghana, Kenya, Morocco, Senegal, Sierra Leone and Zimbabwe.
And that's all for the first part. Stay with us for Talking Point. And again, we're going to be discussing the repeated attacks on children in Cameroon. Tonight, we're having a children's rights defender, a civil society actor. Our guest tonight is Sonita Masamba, who is a gender empowerment advocate. Who I got it right. Good evening, Sonita. I guess I got it right. Or better still, help us introduce yourself. Welcome to the program.
Good evening. My name is Sonita Masamba, a human rights activist with gender empowerment and development. I will first of all want to thank Mr. Armstrong for inviting me into this program and giving me the opportunity to share my perspectives.
It's a pleasure to have you on the program. Now I'm starting with the first question. We are worried. Most Cameroonians have been asking to know what the factors are, factors which are contributing to what we're seeing as a surge in infanticide and violence against children across Cameroon. In your view, what are these factors? What are the contributing factors to this disturbing phenomenon?
In Cameroon, poverty and hardship leads to exploitation through vulnerability and abuse. Lack or limited adequate education leads to vulnerability. Stigma around unwanted pregnancies, lack of support system, they drive the rise in violence against children. Also, some societal norms make people stay quiet, treating abuse as a private matter instead of a crime, a serious crime at that.
At the level of gender empowerment and development, you've been working with key stakeholders, especially within the educational sector, meeting those of the basic and the secondary educational sectors. Now, you have some information that people want to know. Now, I want to get from you first, what's your appraisal of the current policies? I'm talking about the laws in Cameroon and the policies protecting children. Are they strong enough to be able to give these children the needed support and guarantee for their security?
We do have laws to protect children, but I think the enforcement is weak. There are many cases they go on unreported, or are not even followed through. Some of the reforms needed are by harmonizing laws and policies in order to protect children. I think policies such as maybe supporting families by providing psychosocial and economic help to families. Also educating communities on children's rights and protection. For example, let me say this, like presently, GIG right now is working with schools, but we have incorporated a lot of communities in our project because we have realized that apart from the fact that we keep talking about violence in schools, we realize that this violence starts from home, or maybe most of the acts that children bring to school, they experience it at home and they then implement it on their fellow students, their classmates. And so we've really taken measures to go into the community to start fighting violence from the base. And this violence also includes issues like rape, sexual abuse, sexual harassment, and drugs.
Now, you are joining us live from Yaoundé with practical, contextual examples. What can communities do in order to perfect child protection, and how can we encourage community responsibility towards our children?
Community play a vital role in stopping violence. First of all, who is a community? Community are your neighbors. Community is the church, is the local leader, the people you meet on the road. All of this are what makes up a community. Therefore, we should organize parenting classes, outreach programs. We should report cases of violence. We should raise awareness on the harm of belonging to a violent community. Victims should be supported. We should not judge them by maybe asking somebody who has been raped, what were you doing in the night? How were you dressed? What are the signs, or what are the signs that you gave him to be raped? I don't think anybody deserves to go through that kind of pain because of maybe the way they were dressed, or because of maybe sending a signal that was being misread by the opposite party.
Thank you very much, Somita. Now, just this question, what it looks like the legislation is there and with its own challenges of effective implementation. Now, I'll come back to the family and caregivers. What support system should they even put in place? I say they, I mean families and caregivers and every other person who is directly involved with the child. What systems can they even implement in order to see that their children, their kids, are even safer?
Children are a collective responsibility, and in as much as we want to personalize them, we cannot, due to the nature of our today's ecosystem. We need to collectively watch over children, and we need to report suspected cases of violence and abuse. We also need to lend our voices to what matters and to support organizations working to protect children's rights. We need to ensure that law and enforcement, they do their part in that fight. We can work towards a safer community for children in Cameroon if each of us play our part. We are a community.
That was good. Thank you very much, Sonita Masamba, a gender empowerment activist who joined us from Yaoundé. It was good having you on this program.
Thank you for having me here today. Mr. Armstrong. I will close by saying this small phrase, just saying this. Every child is a future, a hope, and a life worth protecting. Speaking up, taking action, and standing together can save lives. The safety of our children depends on each of us. Thank you.
Once again, thank you. She joined us from the nation's political capital city, Yaoundé. And ladies and gentlemen, that was all we had time for as far as news and information is concerned on the primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. We thank you pretty much. Much thanks to our technical team. And of course, you all, we urge to stay connected to your #1 television network, Equinoxe. Programs continue. News is not over. At 8 p.m., you will have a full newscast in the English language. As for me, Rendezvous is taken for tomorrow, same time, on the same platform. Goodbye.